My name is Jed Looker. I'm a professor at Algonquin College in the School of Media and Design. And this morning, we are going to be presenting our final outcomes from a 2-week design challenge that we've been working on. We have teams from both India and Canada collaborating together. And so that means that we have teams formed from students from both Canada and India working in interdisciplinary teams. So we're very excited to be showcasing our projects this morning. So to kick everything off, we have a special guest, Dr. Ram Sharma. Are you with us this morning?
Jade, Dr. Ram is unable to be present because of previous engagement. We have our Dean, Professor Funny. I'm welcoming him on behalf of the organizing team, and I'm handing it over to him.
All right. Thank you very much, Siva, and good morning.
Jade, hi, this is Pani here, and I would like to, on behalf of UPES, say good morning to everyone in Canada, and good evening to all the students and faculty colleagues out here. Thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity. I think the students have had a great time, and this was great working with each other. And I would like to thank Dorothy and WDO for this wonderful opportunity. And Jade, it's been great working with you, and looking forward to further interactions that we can have going into the future. Thank you very much. Sure.
Thank you very much, Parni, for those words. And absolutely, the pleasure has been all ours. This came together from a World Design Organization networking event about a year ago when I had the pleasure of meeting Siva, and we were talking. We're like, hey, wouldn't it be fun if our students did something together? And here we are. And so I really do want to thank the World Design Organization for bringing our two institutions together, and also for reaching out to our industry partners who are joining us today as judges, and they also joined us as subject matter experts a week ago to take a look at the work in progress. I'd also like to give a shout out to our faculty mentors who have been around behind the scenes, coaching our students and getting them to where they need to be at the finish line. All right, so the schedule roughly for today is we're going to have our presentations. Each team, we have 8 teams. Each team gets a very sharp 5 minutes. That's a timed 5 minutes. So they've been given strict instructions that at 5 minutes, we will stop them whether they are finished or not. So this is very much a pitch style competition, a timed pitch. And we're going to have each team present for 5 minutes. We have our panel of judges joining us this morning who will have a little less than 5 minutes to give maybe 2 or 3 questions to each team. So approximately 10 minutes per team. We're going to go through the presentations. After the presentations, the judges are going to deliberate. And at that point in time, we have a very special guest joining us this morning. The president of the World Design Organization, David Kazuma, is with us this morning. And then we're going to, after that, award the top 3. We do have a $1,000 USD prize for the first place winners. So the stakes are high this morning. And after that, we're going to wrap everything up with a few notes from, we have Bertrand Jerome, the managing director of the WDO, joining us here. And then we're actually going to have maybe 20 or 30 minutes just for us to hang out informally and you know, just maybe exchange some LinkedIn links just to network and hopefully keep this conversation going in the months and years ahead. All right, so on that note, I am going to hand the mic over to Dorothy to introduce our panel this morning.
Thank you very much, Jed, and hello to everybody. Welcome to week 3 of World Design Challenge. My name is Dorothy Bolade. I am Community Engagement Officer at WDO. So I am very, very pleased to be introducing our panel today. We start with Megan Pree, Price, who is a mobility design strategist with a passion for understanding and impacting the needs of all living things. She is currently a manager of CX design integration at Delta Airlines, where she creates design strategies to prioritize the customer experience and develop design thinking capabilities throughout the enterprise. Megan is dedicated to providing new paths for future generations, which led her to join WDO's inaugural Young Designers Circle and subsequently run for and successfully joined WDO's board of directors. Megan is a motivational speaker at conferences, universities, and communities around the globe, including Industrial Design Societies of America's International Design Conference, Dassault Systems, Auburn University, Savannah College of Art and Design, and much more. Since graduating from Savannah College of Art and Design with degrees in service design and industrial design, she gained experience both consulting for Lego, Boston Scientific, Hamilton Medical, BMW, Honda, and more, as well as working in-house at corporations like Ford Motor Company and IBM. Sue Young Park is currently a member of the World Design Young Designer Circle and also an interaction designer at BMW Design Works. BMW Design Works is a subsidiary of the BMW Group and brings external perspectives and creative inspiration to the BMW Group. Her primary work focuses on bringing a new angle to the interaction between driver and vehicle in the automotive world, while creating new generation user experiences and future mobility visions. Christine Sullivan from Andrew World is Communications and Marketing Manager at Andrew World. Andrew World is a contemporary design furniture company for home, office, hotels, restaurants, and corporate spaces. They are experts in the manufacture of seating and tables, working creatively and innovatively using sustainable designs in collaboration with the best designers and a distinct commitment to create a positive impact on the planet. With more than 65 years of business experience, they have grown in their philosophy, which is the sum total of attention to detail, excellence, and good design. They have a presence in more than 124 countries, and they are a leading company in internationalization of contemporary furniture design. And last but not least, we have Jennifer Fraser. Jennifer Fraser is an accomplished design executive with deep experience in the field of experience design. She has designed products for many different target markets, including healthcare, aviation, and finance. In her most recent role, she led experience design across the spectrum of customer experience, employee experience, and user experience. She worked as an architect in her former life, which relates to her interest in systems design and finding connections between things. And also to mention that she is a part-time faculty at Algonquin College of Applied Arts and Technology. So please join with me in welcoming our judging panel.
Thank you very much, Dorothy, and welcome, judges. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy days to be with us today and see our presentations. All right, so we are ready to get rolling here. I think the easiest thing to do is just to go from top to bottom through all the teams. So team 1, 2, 3, etc. You have all shared a link to your slides in Slack. So the way this is going to work this morning, just logistically, is the simplest thing is actually for me to control the slides. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to have your slides up live to the entire group, and whomever is presenting, or if it's a team presenting, all you need to do is just say next slide, and I will move the slide forward. If you need to go backwards for whatever reason, just say move back one slide, and we can go from there. So I will be your clicker, your human clicker, to move forward and backwards. So do we have any questions from any of the participants before we move forward? Looking good. Okay, so team 1, you will be up first. And I'd also like to invite everybody, we do have a chat as well, and feel free to leave your comments as you're looking at these presentations. If you're seeing something that's looking really interesting or you'd like to add your thoughts to what you're seeing, please feel free to add that in the chat. And then judges, as I said before, after the 5-minute presentation, we are going to cue you. And I'm going to give 5 minutes for as many questions as we can get in at that time. And I will apologize in advance if it's a little bit, if I do cut you off, it's for the sake of time. I will be a very accurate timekeeper, put it that way. So just to keep us on the rails. Okay, so here we go. Just give me a second here to get my ducks in order. And team 7, if you could post a link to your Google Slides, please. I do not have them yet.
As Jed is queuing them up, students, while you're presenting, if you can keep an eye on the chat, I will indicate in the chat when you have 2 minutes left and 1 minute left. So you'll see those pop up in the chat as you're going.
Okay. Jed, let me know whenever I'm good.
All right. Okay, I've got everything. Okay, as soon as you start speaking, I will hit the timer.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone, and good evening. My name is Melissa. I am a 4th year interior design student at Algonquin College, and I will be speaking on behalf of team number 1 today. Next. Fast furniture is cheap and Americans are throwing it out. Furniture waste, the forgotten waste stream. How cheap fast furniture could soon clog landfills. In recent years, headlines like these have been very prominent in the news. Next. And according to the Environmental Protection Agency, North Americans threw out over 12 million tons of furniture in 2018. That is a 545% increase from 1960. And of the 12 million, 80.2 went to landfills and only 0.3 was recovered for recycling. Next. The furniture industry is often overlooked when it comes to sustainability, as fast fashion trends and single plastic use topics usually take the stage. Current trends highlight that consumers are encouraged to frequently update their furniture for social status and style, leading to a culture where furniture is seen as a short-term investment. And as a result, a substantial amount of waste is generated, and current industry trends suggest that this will continue on. Next. But luckily, the Gen Z and millennial generations are becoming increasingly concerned about making responsible consumer choices. This includes purchasing and aligning themselves with companies that actively work towards a more sustainable future. So while considering the World Design Organization's Sustainable Development Goals number 8, decent work and economic growth, and number 12, responsible consumption and production, next. How might we increase accessibility to furniture recycling programs for Gen Z and millennials in a way that adheres to consumer trends, giving the short lifespan of furniture? Next. Some of the top producers of furniture waste in the world include IKEA and Wayfair, but both companies have taken steps towards reducing their waste. So for example, IKEA launched a buyback and resale program through which unwanted IKEA furniture can be returned, refurbished, and given a second home. And Wayfair has implemented a zero waste to landfill program in which damaged products caused by shipment are properly recycled or refurbished and donated to a local community. Next. There's also been some really great initiatives locally. So in Canada, the social enterprise Furniture Bank intersects poverty and sustainability by keeping quality furniture in circulation through their furniture removal and refurbishing services. These furniture items are then donated to families in need. And in India, the Kabadiwala company will pick up and actually pay you for your recyclable waste. Additionally, they will then sort it and then sell it to sell the recoverable materials for manufacturers. Next. So with all of these really great global and local solutions implemented, why is so much furniture still ending up in our landfills? Well, we've identified the following 3 key barriers preventing consumers from doing so. The first one being lack of awareness about recycling programs and lack of knowledge about furniture recycling in general. Many consumers don't even know that they can recycle their furniture items. The next one is affordability of recycling services. Recycling furniture can be more expensive than simply just throwing it away or putting it at the curb. And the last one is feasibility and inconvenience. Researching for solutions can be time-consuming, difficult, confusing, and additionally, when you do find a service, there are many barriers, including transportation of the furniture to the facilities. Next. So increasing accessibility to furniture recycling programs requires a multifaceted approach that includes providing adequate tools and resources to address the lack of awareness and knowledge among consumers, and also address the affordability, feasibility, and convenience of already implemented solutions locally. Next. FurniCycle is a user-friendly app that provides exactly just that. Next. FurniCycle raises awareness by providing tools and resources for consumers to make informed and responsible decisions while disposing of their furniture items with a simple scan of a barcode or a click of a photo. FurniCycle will also increase convenience and feasibility to access furniture recycling programs already available to the consumer locally, such as online marketplaces, donation centers, recycling centers, refurbishing companies, and so much more. Additionally, a furniture pickup service will be available, removing the barrier of transportation, which will aid consumers in disposing of their furniture pieces accordingly. And last, to motivate consumers to utilize these systems and to continue using these systems, we will provide a cashback incentive of which can then be applied towards fees associated with recycling programs. So to sum up, we believe that by giving millennials and Gen Z the tools and resources to gain knowledge and awareness about existing furniture recycling programs, we could prevent unneeded furniture waste from ending up in landfills and help our key furniture consumers make a more sustainable furniture choice. Next. Thank you.
Thank you very much. With 8 seconds to spare, nicely done.
No, I practiced. The timing was like exactly on it. So I was like, oh, hopefully the clicking, Jed is on the clicking and it's perfect.
Yeah, there was a lot going on there, but I figured it out. Very well done. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so let's open it up to the panel. I'm going to set my timer again for 5 minutes. So panel, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you. That was great. First of all, going first is always scary. So good job. Good job on that. I love the research that you did. And I'm curious around if you found that there are any analogous industries that are doing similar things that that you've learned from beyond IKEA and Mayfair, who are clearly in the furniture industry.
There were a lot actually. So I think our main idea in regards of creating that app was to create a main hub to be able to access like all of these services. So I can't personally, like off the top of my mind, I can't really right now think of other companies, but I know locally in Ottawa specifically, there are local stores or that are refurbishing furniture. So they'll take back like donations, or they'll have some sort of incentive where you can trade furniture items. There are a lot of services themselves in regards of like sustainability or being able to do that like upcycle or like recycling process.
Maybe I also have a question. So first of all, I really love your confidence voice. I think that's really amazing. But going back to the question, so like, I mean, could you explain again about like how to deliver the like a stop in the middle? Because I think that was something missing in the end. So like, is it gonna be done by people who sell or buy?
So the idea with the app itself would be more so from the consumer point of view. So the idea is that you would be able from the app to take a photo or scan the barcode of the furniture item. And then from there with we would have a database built or a database being built essentially with all of these furniture items. When the furniture item is found in the database, that database essentially would provide you all of the information you need regarding what you can do to dispose of your furniture item. So essentially, if there were to be any sort of like toxic binders within the process of the furniture itself, it would be marked there, and then it would give you the process of properly disposing it. Or if you were to be able to donate it or trade it or refurbish it, essentially all of those services associated with those specific furniture items would pop up. So really the choice is very easy. The solution, essentially, the barriers have been removed where all you have to do is scan, and then we'll be giving you all of the options of how you could dispose or recycle, refurbish your furniture.
I think it was like quite a good solution for the people, just normal people who like doesn't have a big companies like who have ability to deliver, right? So that they have like options, whether they want to donate it, whether they wanted to have money. So I think it was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate just that you're trying to connect it with local existing services to just kind of amplify the companies that are out there already trying to do the work. I was just curious about kind of the economics of it, because these are existing services, and you mentioned the possibility of a buyback program. So I'm just wondering kind of what's the financial model that you're thinking of?
Sure. So with the time constraint, we didn't have a lot of time of necessarily diving into the economical aspect of it, but we were really leaning towards more of a circular economic model for the business itself. A lot of local companies have highlighted a variety of different incentives or ways of making money off of these programs, such as either sorting through the waste and selling to manufacturers, or refurbishing, upcycling, selling that way, or also through online marketing platforms could also be like a source of revenue. So I think if we were to be able to dive in a little bit deeper and have a little bit more time and really developing that like circular model, that is definitely like the way that we were looking into. And there's a variety of different ways that we could have revenue income from it.
Awesome, thanks.
No problem.
Any other questions from our panel?
I have one more, but kind of a light question. What was your favorite part about working on this challenge?
Working with students from a different country. I think there's extreme benefits from working with people with different perspectives and different culture. I think we all do different things differently. So I think there's a very great benefit in expanding our views. And also as well, like could say, I'm trying to think as well, working with different designers, having my last 4 years, having only worked with interior designers or people with interest in interior designers, working on a design solution or a design problem with designers from different backgrounds is actually, it's really great. And it definitely gives you a different perspective. And it also opens all of the different lens or alleys within the design field. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that presentation this morning. Thank you, judges, for your feedback. Moving on, we have team 2 up and ready to go. Just a friendly reminder, when you need the slides to move forward, just say next, and I will happily do so. All right, team 2, over to you.
So may I start?
Yes.
Okay, so hi guys, I'm Ishan Gupta from UPES and from representing Team Indica. And the solution we have come up with is sustainability loop. Next. So first we did the bifurcation of the term sustainability and furniture, and try to loop in different things that that are being addressed with it. So a lot of things that have come up are like fast furniture, ergonomical furniture, and smart furniture, a lot of others like these. And we have tried to research about the journeys these furnitures go under. Next. So this is the iceberg and the literature review we did about the thing. When we talk about fast furniture, it has we found fast furniture as the most concerning factor right now. Next. The factors that have been an issue in fast furniture are like it has cheap material, so it gets a little hazy early. Then its design is very trendy, that's why it attracts the customer. It has a short lifespan, and 80% of this furniture lands up in landfills. Next. The factors that a human look forward towards like fast furniture are affordability, functionality, user friendly, and accessibility. Next. So when we talk about fast furniture, the problem we found is that and we want to solve is how might we break the linear model of fast furniture in the modern world of industrialization. Next. So when we talk about the stats about the thing, we found out that 80 to 90% of the fast furniture are disposed of within the 6 months of the use. And in the EU, the European Union, a lot of fast furniture has been generated, and is only 10% of that fast furniture is being recycled. Next. So when we talk about the linear model of economy in fast furniture, it basically includes sourcing and the materializing, manufacturing, the use and the landfill, which is just one way. And we want to solve it by use of the circular economy model. Next. So there's the circular economy where we get the raw material, we design, we produce and remanufacture, basically production and remanufacturing. We distribute the material, consume it, repair, and collect, and again we can process it and design it again. Next. So what we come up is a service design where we can have a furniture range in the current business, a different system, a product range, a furniture range, where we can have furniture that is easily like changed. We can change the particular part about the furniture and then replace that only part, so that we do not have to dispose of the whole chair, and only that particular part is available on the online sites where you buy them, you change yourself. It has to be that user friendly. Next. So when we talk about the material of the chair, we are using cane and hemp wood as the material, because it is easily produced and has a sustainable quality in terms of material. While in terms of joints, we are using dwell joint and the tenon joint, which is easy for the user to handle when they are repairing it themselves. Next. So the key issues we were addressing here is more about sustainable consumption, reduced waste, and it has to be user friendly. Next. When we talk about the implementation and scalability, we do not try and make it a new business. We have to add it as a service design in the existing system, where there's a product range in which it introduce the furniture range, and that is available on the site, with the extra parts as well available on the site. When if I have a chair and the leg is broken, I just have to order that particular leg and change that leg itself. The user can do it itself, reducing the labor cost, the rental cost, the transportation cost, making the whole process a lot cheaper. Next. These are the sources, and for more information, we have our Miro link. Next. And yeah, that's all. Open to questions.
Thank you very much, team. With 13 seconds to spare, nice timing so far from our team. So, panel of judges, over to you.
I can go first again.
Hello.
Great work. So my question for you is around the idea that you're taking some of the pieces to recycle them, and then also to some of them to the landfill, and making it more of, obviously, the circular economy. How do you see consumers who let me rephrase my question. How do you see consumers buying into a model that enables them to recycle in countries that maybe aren't so supportive of recycling initiatives?
When we look about the people's perspective, a lot of fast furniture is being there in the market right now, which is, again, it is trendy. That is why it is being sold, and again, it is cheap, which makes it affordable for the people. But it is a furniture that is not that cannot be used for long-term use. You cannot sit hours on that. It's uncomfortable economically as well. So what we are proposing is that it can be sustainable, so that at least it does not harm the environment in total. And it's like we have given it the materials and sort of thing that it can be recycled very easily, and the material is being produced very soon. Like if we talk about the tree, we have to wait for the tree to grow. But hemp is something that can be grown within 2 months.
Thank you.
Just to build off of Megan's question, I love the idea, right? The approach of kind of trying to reinvigorate more of a mending culture. And to build off of what Megan said, I'm just wondering, in your research, what did you come across in terms of what, I guess, what barriers or what resistance there might be culturally to this idea of preparing something yourself? Like I think it's fantastic, but I'm just wondering what your research showed in terms of what obstacles you might find.
So when we go to the market for the primary research, we understood that there are 3 categories of people: rich people, middle class, and lower class. When we talk about the rich class, they are like, we can pay extra, so we are comfortable that our chair goes into repair, or we even discard it and get a new one. But when we talk about the middle class and the lower class, they're always like, we want to save as much money as we can. And when we talk about this system, where you can get the parts from an online app and then bring them home and change it yourself, it reduces your transportation cost, it reduces your labor cost. Your chair is being placed at a workshop for 2 days. They charge you rental cost. The cost decreases dramatic, the whole cost decreases, which is a plus point for the middle class and the lower class.
Then I also have actually I have 2 questions. So the first question, I think it was very clear that your idea is like really attractive and good for the customers, obviously. But then what do you also think about the benefit from like a company side? Like when do they have like a collaboration, for example, then like, do you think it's also going to be more benefit for them in the real market? That's the first question that I would like to ask. And also like the other second question in the other direction is like, I mean, I just wondering like, is there like anything that can be special from the perspectives of the customers who are assembling this? Because accept the like recycling, like assembling, because I think that's really clear. But I was just thinking, what could be like additional experience for the like customers while they're doing it? That'd be interesting if you can answer on that.
Okay, so when we talk about the customer, they are being a little resistant about it because, of course, it's a process they have to go on their own, and they're a little receptive about it. That okay, how will I be able to do it? But again, furniture was designed something that it has to be very basic, accessible to all, not like a car or a phone that I cannot handle it myself. I have to give it to a shop. Furniture was designed to be very basic, and if we design it in certain way, in a certain perspective, it can be user friendly when it in terms of change when they have to change the parts on their own. That is why we are using very basic joints like dual joint and tenon joint, which is very basic and can be done very easily by the customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And also maybe added on that, I was also thinking about like maybe creating a community also can be possible, like, because what I have always a problem whenever I have a stuff from the IKEA, I always lost something from there. I always I don't know where is it, but I always lost in there. And then the funny thing is, even though like IKEA is quite famous for those like a system, but if I wanted to find a one scroll, it's just hard. So I think like based on your idea, it could be also possible. And then I thought it'd be also cool to be, like a further more additional, like a further the plan on it. So, but thank you for the presenting. It was great.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, team, and thank you, judges. All right, next up we have team number 3. Let me share my screen here.
Hello, panelists. Shall we start?
Sorry, hang on a sec.
Okay. Hello, panelists. We are team 3, Urbanness. Next. We are presenting a proposal centered on the theme of sustainable furniture. Next. So we explored the sustainable term through 5 essential insights: definition, manufacturing, origin, necessity, and relevance. Valuable insights were gained from this. Next. We went on big investigation mission time and finally nailed down the issue, which was prevalent. Our problem statement focuses on young individuals who relocate and shift a lot due to their jobs in India. Next. We conducted many interviews and surveys and summarized our findings in 5 WH questions as follows. To gain a better understanding of our target audience, we decided to create user personas. Our target audience consists of driven and motivated young individuals who are strongly inclined towards staying in trends. They love to travel. They want everything at the speed of light. Next. We created a mood board to visually represent our problem space. Next. In here, this is our research insight, basically. Next. This is the iceberg model where we divided different aspects of a problem space in 3 different events. Next. Finally, we concluded a problem space with a how might be question where we focused on our target audience as young working professionals and kept our location to metropolitan cities of India. Next. Based on this information, we proceeded to analyze our impact gap. We visually represented the current solutions, identified areas where they fall short, and outlined the opportunities for improvement. Next. These are the following opportunities with greatest potential that we kept on our prime focus, and we will be working on this. Next. So finally, after brainstorming, we decided that our young generation wanted something that was instant, that did not take up a lot of space, that was easy to assemble and disassemble, and basically that was sustainable as well and trendy. So as a team, we came up with a multi-purpose form that could be attached with each other in various ways to provide multiple and unique furniture items. Next. The inspiration for this form was taken from a bird's nest. The material that go into the manufacturing of this product, of this form, is bamboo pulp and moonsh grass, which are currently being used by local artisans of states of Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand in India. These materials are highly sustainable, readily available, and have great potential. With this one form, our user turns into designer and can make 5 standard products, which are chair, swing, table stool, table bar, and a storage unit. Next. Following is the video to represent how it's going to be assembled like a chair, table, and a swing. Next slide. So basically, our form serves the following purposes. It uses sustainable material like bamboo pulp and moonsh grass, which align with the commitment to our theme. The user turns into a designer, as it's totally up to them to personalize and redesign this form and to make different types of furniture from this. The form is flexible enough, making it versatile for multiple functions. Next slide. The form can be bought as standalone and in 2 different sizes, large and small. We also kept in mind to focus on the 2 main SDGs that come under this theme: SDG 8, which focuses on employment, and SDG 12, that focus on consumption. Next. So this is how our furniture, how our form, when combined to form a furniture, different furniture products would look in an interior. Next. This is a short video to represent it in an interior. Next. So So our solution will be implemented in a cyclic process, starting from sourcing the materials and local artisans and providing the users with an immovable solution, which then can be reused and recycled in many ways. Next. Thank you. We are open to questions.
Thank you very much, team. Panel, over to you.
Maybe I will start it from, now this time. So I think that was great. Thank you so much. I think I was surprised that you guys made it like a video in this short time. I know it's not an easy time, but I think it was great that you made it. But could you like describe the people who targeted one more time? It would be great because I like who else is who else is interested in it, and then what could it be the like kind of a more special experience for them. I think that would be great.
Okay, so basically our target audience is the young generation who want everything at the speed of light. They want instant things, instant solutions, everything they want at fingertips, right? They don't wait. They don't like to wait for things, right? They want everything to be fast forward, and they want everything to be in trend. They want everything to be trendy. They want to keep up with the trends, and they are immobile, highly immobile, because they want to pursue new opportunities. They don't want to let go any opportunity for growth. They're highly ambitious and career driven. So for the future generation, for this young generation that is moving forward with the speed of light. That's our target audience.
We also consider think about the customization also, because that was kind of the question as well, right?
Right.
Okay.
Great job, guys. I'm curious your thoughts on why you selected to specifically work with Indian young working professionals, and what was that decision making between why you chose India versus Canada or versus another country, and kind of that process that went into it.
So basically, actually, we are all Indians, and the people in Canada are also Indian based. So we wanted to keep it indigenous because we also wanted to give a platform to our local artisans. So we can give a platform to Indian furniture, promote our Indian furniture more.
Maybe like added on that, what would be like the special a difference between the Indian younger generations than other countries? Because that's gonna be the question that only you guys can answer, right?
Right. So it can be used by various people. It's not just limited to India, but we have kept our prime focus on Indians, in the mentality of Indians, young generation, but it can be used by any young people and any young generation.
Yeah. But I was just wondering what would be like characteristics of the Indian youngers that you guys are targeting. That'd be my question.
Actually, the reason why we targeted Indian users was because it's a developing country, new opportunity relocating on a daily basis. And it was easy for us to collect data, to conduct a primary research and secondary research here. So on the basis of that research, we can, implement this idea or the solution elsewhere, like in Canada or anywhere in the world.
Do we have time for one more question, Jed? I'm just going to keep talking. You can cut me off.
Yes, we
I
do.
think you guys mentioned it. Okay, in I think it was your last or second last slide, anyways, about kind of the scalability in terms of in the future, you might introduce different materials or different artists. So I was wondering if you could just talk about that a little bit more, just how you're envisioning kind of it growing from where you're starting with the first version that you have designed.
Actually, in terms of material, we were looking to use materials like brass, because there are a lot of brass workers here in India, which we can utilize their skills. And in terms of the mushroom based materials are also new in trend, so we can also use that. And for the furniture form, we can also explore new forms that can be easily customized as per the needs of our users. Like now also there are comings the form through mushrooms. There are mushroom sheets also which are strong enough. So we were thinking of that also to include like in further future.
We can always customize our product according to new trends and according to the new discoveries of material.
Like new forms can be also come up to
Can be
make
discovered, yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
We still have a minute and change if there's any other questions from the panel.
I'm curious how you guys have thought through potentially some of the making sure that you're gathering the materials in a circular way, making sure that it's regenerative. While there's a lot of grass now, I'm curious your thoughts on some other influences that might change the way that we look at how many materials we have on Earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Team, is someone going to get that? Is someone on mute maybe?
Sorry, could you repeat the question just to clarify it?
Yeah, so often we select materials based on what is sustainable in this current moment. How are you guys addressing or thinking through how this material might change in how regenerative it is in the future?
So for now we were focusing on bamboo pulp basically. So bamboo is readily available here in India, and it regrows. The rate at which it grows is it is fast basically. So if we even use the bamboo pulp, it grows very fast. So in that way, it is sustainable and also the government here also promotes bamboo usage. It provides subsidies on that. So that can also be helpful in, manufacturing or, helping the local artisans to use the product. And in terms of future scope, we can always, find new materials. For example, if we can use, as we said earlier, we can use mushrooms, wild mushrooms that can be used for building these materials, or something like Bengal. That is also a new material that is coming up in India. So yeah, that is how we are going to proceed with that.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, team. I'm going to call it there. We now have team number 4. You are up. Let me just share my slides here. And just a reminder to everybody, you can leave notes in the chat on the right if you have any comments on the presentations you're seeing. And I would just ask perhaps for our team that's in the gym, for our guests here, in case you don't know, we're actually on a giant wall on one side of a gymnasium this morning in India. So good morning, everybody. If you are in the gym, if you could kindly, if you do have access to any headphones you could wear with a mic so that we don't get the echo from the speakers in the gym, that would be great if you can do that. If you can't, then maybe just speak right into your laptop. It might be a little bit easier to register your voice. All right, so moving on, let me share my screen. Team number 4, you are up, and give me a moment. All right, take it away.
Hello, am I audible?
You are.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew, and I will be representing Team 4. And our solution is Cherish. So let's get into it. The first thing that we did was defining the problem space. So based on the research that we did, we chose the major area as the SDG goal 12. And from there, we zoned into sustainable furniture itself. Next. So using the iceberg model, we structured our data to understand the patterns, trends, structures, and finally the mental models. Next. So the target user group that we identified are millennials. And the reason for that is because they are the most likely to adopt sustainable practices. Next. The region we chose is India. And the reason for that is because a large part of the population currently is millennials, and their share of the wallet is increasing, which means their purchase decisions determine the patterns and trends that will be relevant in the industry. Next. These were the problems that we identified. While the millennials want to invest in sustainable furniture, the pricing premium often serves as a deterrent. Then we also found out that there is a lot of furniture waste that goes into landfills. Next. The research shows that there's at least a 27.6% premium on sustainable products, and at least 3.1 million tons of furniture waste ends up in landfills every year in India. Next. So this is our how might we statement, and it's helping millennials take informed decisions during furniture shopping. Next. We looked at the existing solutions and tried to identify gaps. Next. One existing solution is the Good Trade, which is a media company based in Los Angeles. And what they do is they teach you about sustainable living, how you can do it, what are the changes that you can make to your lifestyle. Next. Renting furniture is quickly becoming another option to buying furniture. Renticle is one such platform in India which offers that. Next. Looking at what worked for the solutions, we found out that they mostly use digital media to reach their audiences. And we also understood that there is a large-scale adoption of alternative methods to buying furniture. Next. The solutions currently include that these renting services are not available in every city, and that there is a lack of a collected database, which means that the information is scattered. And then there is a lack of information regarding the big picture as well. Next. So what we decided to come up with is a one-stop shop solution for all sustainable furniture needs. Next. For our strategic response, we went back to our sustainable goal, and we wanted to look at the products that are already in circulation and how we can help that process. Next. We chose to do it through 3 ways, one of which is local support. So acting as a database, it lists local ways that you can upscale your furniture, get used furniture, and also sustainably dispose of your furniture. Next. The environmental impact, we wanted to use the solution to tell you exactly what is the impact of the furniture or the piece that you're purchasing. Next. And finally, wanted to share knowledge regarding sustainability itself. Next. And that is how we came up with the solution, Cherish. And it has 4 major functions. One is understanding what to look for in used furniture. Basically, in this, we use AI and AR to scan furniture to then give you an understanding of where the material is from, how it's sourced, and all of that. To learn about sustainable furniture is a knowledge sharing initiative. And it also lists all the local services that you need in one platform so that you can approach whoever is that you need. We also share DIY tutorials for upscaling your existing furniture. Next. These were quick wireframe sketches that we made. Next. And these are the final screens that we made. Next. For the implementation, we believe that localization is a very important aspect to make the content relatable and relevant for the Indian audience. And the other thing that we do is partnerships, so partnering with local thrift shops and other craftsmen so that their data is listed on the website for people to approach. Next. For scalability, we need to do marketing. And what you see as a GIF is a campaign that we made to raise awareness about fast fashion and how our solution ties into it. Finally, we also have data analysis and user feedback to build the database and to understand where we need to improve. Next. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, team. All right, panel, what do we think?
I'll go first. This is great, guys. I'm curious your thoughts on other technologies that you could potentially implement in this. You talked about AI, you talked about AR and VR, and I'm curious if you guys have thought through potentially using blockchain or even things like ChatGPT to kind of help throughout your process.
Yes, so while we were ideating, ChatGPT was something that came up. So as a solution, maybe just entering in data and ChatGPT would score through our database to find the relevant information so that it would be trained on the data that we have as an application. But we didn't go into, how to exactly implement it, but it was something that we thought of.
When you were describing your app, it was a pretty robust, fully featured application. You talked about a lot of different aspects or features in it. And I'm just curious, based on your knowledge of the millennials in India that you're targeting, if you had to kind of prioritize your feature set, what would be kind of the most important area of the application, and why would it be the most important as kind of what you could release maybe as your first release of it?
I think the most important area would be listing of all these furniture services, like such as, crafters and thrift stores, because in the end, people want furniture to put in their homes and they don't know where exactly to go to find all those solutions. So that would be the most important. I think the least important would be, educating them more about sustainability. Like we mentioned, they're a very educated generation. So this is more like stuff that isn't widely covered in mass media. So that would be like the least important.
I think I really liked your speaking speed and then presentation flow. It was very clear, and then it was really deliver your idea really good way. I think so. So that was great. And also the renting the furniture, the app, I think it's also really inspiring a lot, really. And also I think it's definitely an idea that people actually need a lot, because now like a lot of people buy it. I mean, I think like a renting is kind of like alternative solution for having furniture, but also the sharing idea, that's also kind of universal concept. So I think you hit it at that point. But then, like for having your idea in the market, like in order for your idea to be applied to the reality, then I think it should be like have a lot of, amount of the community have to be there, right? Then how do you see like what can be done for that? I mean, you already mentioned like marketing or collaboration can be possible, but do you also have the other idea that it can be also helpful to advertise or make a community for that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get you at the
Oh,
end.
sorry. So like long story short. So my question was like for advertising or like building up the community, because I think that would be kind of like really big features of your idea to have the concept, right? Can you hear, right?
No, I can't. 1 second.
Oh, okay. I can also type it. Maybe I will type it. I can type it. Wait.
1 second.
No, I cannot. Wait.
Yeah, could you try now?
Yeah.
So team and Suyang, I do apologize, but unfortunately I will have to cut you off there. But yes, actually maybe Su-Chang, what you could do, Su-Young, what you could do is type it in the chat while we're watching the next presentation, and then team, feel free to respond live in the chat. That would be great. Thank you very much, panel. Thank you very much, team. Fantastic presentation. I am really impressed so far with these, very, very strong. So thank you for that. Okay, so we have team 5. You are up. Let me share my screen and you can take it away right now. All right, over to you.
Hello, good morning and good evening, everyone. So I'm Satvik, and today I'll be presenting on behalf of my teammates. Next. So let's take a journey to India, which contributes to 1.4 billion people, with over 4,300 people die every day due to poor hospital care. Next. Here, the average household income is $280, wherein they spend an average of $400 in private hospitals, within which their medical expenses contributes to around 90% of their overall spendings. Next. And talking about the current situation of the system, people start the journey by traveling to the different cities for the healthcare checkup and wait for the long line and struggle to get appointment tickets. Next. Again, they wait for their appointment in the waiting area as well as for the doctor's checkup. And here the average waiting time at the hospital is 25 minutes. Next, the lengthy treatment process also makes the problem severe over time. And if we talk about the medical bills, they are high enough to push around 100 million people into extreme poverty. Next. And these costs are not just present in India. We can see similar pattern all over the globe, majorly in the sub-Saharan regions, the Latin American region, even in other South Asian countries. Next. And there have been a lot of initiatives taken by the Indian government, but haven't been very well implemented. They have been lacking in limited. They have a limited scope of growth, improper funding supplies, and complex claim process. Next. There are other initiatives by WHO, and sorry, next. Yeah. So there are initiatives by WHO where poor people lack in getting proper healthcare services. Next. So here we tried taking the target audience, which are the 31 to 40 middle age adults. So they are the major influencers and implement changes in a family. Next. So in this age group, these people engage in less risky behavior and often more active in seeking out other information from variety of sources. And they are forefront in the social change of the society. Next. And from the pilot study, we saw that the self-awareness of the symptom is on the peak. And here we have shown how is the life of an ideal person in India in our existing system. Next. So now, how might we effectively improve the user journey at each level by leveraging the user existing problem and system? Next. The ecosystem consists of two applications and a server. It is a two-way communication from the doctor's end. It will be they will be able to upload the prescription and check their medical history, and from the user end, they'll be able to check their health status. Next. So the concept starts with the patient, where the smart device like a smartwatch detects the change in the body, and if there's a severe change, it notifies to the user. And with the mobile application, the user can align the schedule with the doctor appointment timings, and additionally, they can tell which doctor to consult from to have a lower human error and hence have a effective treatment. The application also provides with all the medical history, which includes their past medical reports, tests, and medical insurance, and much more. That would ease in the user having a one-stop solution for all the medical needs. The data also can be used by the doctor for proper detection of the medical condition. Later, when the medicines are being prescribed by the doctors, the user can also scan the prescription and find about all the alternative salts, which can be bought at a much cheaper price, and hence resulting in a very low cost purchase. Next. So now if we talk about its implementation, so in India, around 45% of the Indians use smartphones or the smart devices, which can detect these symptoms. Next. And talking about the scalability, the current solution targets 27% of the population in India. And after its successful implementation, seeing its drawback, it can also be implemented in other countries as well, where the basic resources are still being used by majority of people all around the globe. And the proposed solution can also connect people and make process easier at different stages of healthcare. Next. So before people used to couldn't used to identify the symptoms which affected them in the later stage, but now with a new concept, people can easily detect the problems and eventually can consult the doctor and cost and save a lot of cost. Next. So thank you.
Okay, so I just want to note that that presentation
And
was
I'm open for the
exact.
questions.
That was exact. So as soon as my ringer went, your presentation ended. So far, team, you have maximized the time, the 5-minute allotment. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so let us open it up to the floor to our panel. Over to you.
Well, thank you for your presentation. There was some really staggering statistics that you shared with us. It was really set the context for it well, and the your illustrations were phenomenal in your storyboard. It really helped explain your idea. I'm just curious, in the research that you did, because you're talking about obviously from the perspective of the the middle-aged adult. From your research, do you foresee any challenges getting the healthcare professionals, the doctors on board to use the system as well, and what your thoughts were on that?
Like while we were doing this research, while we were understanding the user, we found out like there are a lot of problems, but it was not able to implement on the larger scales. And considering the Indian audience, there are a lot of poor people also. And I mean, basically in terms of the implementation, it was tough. So we didn't consider those things.
I'll follow up on that question. So not just our healthcare systems, but I'm curious if you guys have thought through or what your research shows around the consumer being willing to put that amount of healthcare data on a platform, thinking through privacy concerns, thinking through things like that. I'm curious what your consumers' mindset is around that.
Yeah, so we also thought over the future scope of this concept. So in that we took the privacy and the cost effective thing, but that's the future thing that we will consider over it. And basically in the current existing solution, we thought of the data would be saved in a blockchain. So much more safer than the cloud storage and other things. Anything else?
I also
and also
go ahead.
the thing to add on for the even for the privacy thing, we also thought I mean there's a governmental ID proof in India, that is Aadhaar card. So we also thought of making it linked with the making this concept linked with the country's identity card. So maybe we could also think in that way also.
I also would love to just compliment on the fact that I love that you guys did research and showed data of the global problem that was arising. I think that it really set the tone of, yes, you were focused on India, but then how it can expand to other countries and areas. So great work on that.
Yeah, like during our research, we also found out that the data was just of the India. And if we consider the overall audience all around the globe, it was around 2.3 billion people who comes under our target audience, and they can benefit through that.
I also was wondering, first of all, like I also could see that like you did a lot of research and then, like you put a lot of effort and then time during the like beginning of the research. That was really great. But then also like I was curiously like wondering what did you see that like you needed to be like careful like for the target when you created for the product like I think that'll be my question. Because you're
So,
targeting
like,
quite specific the group, right? So I think that'd be great if you can answer on that.
Yeah, so while we were choosing the target audience, we found that this age group from 30 to 40, they have a lot of social responsibility. They have to cater to their kids, themselves, and even parents. And they are the foremost people who bring a change in the society. And also, they power their family. So that's why these are the points we choose this target audience, the middle working people.
All right, thank you very much, team, and thank you very much, judges. I'm going to call it there. We have next up team number 6. Let me share my screen, and then I will let you take it away. All right, team 6, over to you.
Yes, sir. So, hi everyone. Today I'll be presenting from Team 6. Next slide. Is this landscape familiar to you? Probably not, but this is the life of a normal teenager in Sidama, where she wakes up early in the morning, goes to fetch the water, which is already treated with wastewater. Next slide. Each coffee plant uses about 15,000 to 20,000 liters of water per day, which is further discharged into the water bodies. Next. The residents of Sidama in Ethiopia learned to repair a broken water well in their community after being trained to fix their wells, but couldn't sustain due to lack of maintenance. Next. A project started with the focus on SDG 3 and 6, which represented good health and well-being and clean water and sanitation. UN has specified its goal for the upcoming years, and we focused on them, which were to decrease the neonatal death rate and provide drinking water and proper sanitation. These SDGs led us to the geographical region of Sidama, which locates in the southern region of Ethiopia. Next. When we dug into the culture and industries of this region, we found that this region produced very high quality coffee, which is being exported internationally and is the main source of income. But this coffee industry is taking a high toll on the people and nature of Sidama region. The problem space was defined by the industrial waste outlet, which was surrounding in the soil. Next slide. Next slide. Which was polluting the water bodies and polluting the region, which is leading to the cause of many waterborne diseases like diarrhea and malaria. In an article published by BMC Public Health in Sidama district, the 2 weeks prevalence of diarrhea was 19.6%, which is higher than that of regional and national prevalence. Next slide. The water contamination in the region is due to the wastewater dumping and ineffective existing projects, which is leading to waterborne diseases and the industrial discharge, which is leading to heavy metal and toxic waste accumulation. Our research led to the conclusion that we need a gradual change so that the local people can accustom to it and make it a habit, just like the individual practices, which then further led to our how might we statement, which is efficiently treat contaminated water in the Sidama region while keeping indigenous methods into account and preserving the healthcare. Next slide. There are many projects done by the government. Next slide. And some private organization, but what led to their failure was less cooperative projects with the local people and the use of contaminated groundwater for drinking purposes. The limited reach of water resources was a gap that was the main focus for most of the projects. The local people have their indigenous practices of seeds and boiling water for its purification. Next slide. Globally, many projects are existing with good results, which helped us pave our solutions towards the project facility, which means flow, and that's our main objective. It is the flow of pure water and the flow of good health. Next slide. From the research done at a global and local level, we found some key pointers. Next slide. Which led to an efficient design which would cater the issues like the involvement of indigenous practices, awareness among people, using groundwater, improving defecation practices, involvement of the local community, increasing efficiency of current practices. Next slide. Next slide. The model created starts with the initial idea of using their practices on a communal stage, the first step of a dumping pit, which has an accumulation of untreated groundwater. This would get mixed with the dumping of banana stems and moringa seeds, which is done by the local people, which was initially done by them as a household practice. The banana stem has a coagulating property where the seeds stick to the unwanted particles and settle down as sediments. The water is then passed through motorized pipelines to the underground collecting tanks, where the silt soak pit is adjusted by the local people. It is an idea that has come up from the indigenous and rural areas of India. The high density of impure water will lead to the travel of clear water free from debris inside the soak pits. The water from here is still containing viruses like E. coli and heavy metals, which is due to the open defecation and the industrial wastewater. So this water is further taken to the solar boiling cylinders, which boil the water and disinfect it, which can be finally delivered to the local communal hand pumps for proper use. The project facility works around the benefit, next slide, of stakeholders and is working in a round circle where we started with the problem of water and ending with a solution which involved the indigenous practices and local people efforts not being excluded. Next slide. The benefits of stakeholders who are producers, consumers, retailers, investors, and the government, with the main aim of better health of the producers. The implementation of the project works on the concept of practicing it and making it a habit with some cultural hints. It would be more acceptable to the local people. Next slide. Now moving on how the solution is addressing the needs and issues. The eco-friendly approach and the awareness of the population of water treatment is the core success of this initiative. Next slide. To make them realize their capabilities so that these can be converted into good habits, which can further then implemented at a larger scale is what we aim for. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Next.
Okay. Oh, you just squeezed in there. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much, team. Let me open this up to the floor.
I think it was interesting that like you guys decided on a like different topic from the other team, and actually like your idea is like a completely different scale. And I think it's probably wouldn't be like easy to do like research and understand like with this scale and in this short time, but I think you did a really great job. But like how did you guys like how did you target the problem like in that area? Because like at Ethiopia is like I was just wondering like how did you come with that?
So we started with catering on the SDG 3 and 6, which was good health and proper sanitation water. And with WHO health concerns, we saw that the sub-Saharan region had a very low amount of drinking water with the statistics that we got from the research, that they had no proper drinking water and the sanitation was also very bad and poor. So we catered onto the sub-Saharan region, and then we saw that Ethiopia has very much international trade and through coffee only. And then we catered that we should focus on Sidama since the coffee was also getting ruined because of the soil that was having heavy metals. So that's how we chose the geographical region of Sidama.
Cool.
I'm wondering if in your research, anything came up around potential socialism that happens, or socialization, I should say, that happens around some of these current initiatives around clean water. I think often it's easy for us to go into a scenario and say that this is the right solution, but I'm curious if you've thought through any of the, I don't know, social kind of so things that happen within the community that, you know, if they were to go walk somewhere to get clean water, is that the time where they are catching up with their friends and now you've taken that away, that time away from them, or etc.?
Actually, the time that is being taken to get to the water points is where they are lacking in their education, because students who must be in the schools studying are traveling far away distance to just collect their basic need, that is drinking water. And if we talk about foreign concepts that were being introduced, many projects are being introduced in this region because sub-Saharan region is a main source for WHO and projects like UNICEF also. But the thing was that the indigenous people were not open to those projects because they had many foreign concepts incorporated in them. So that was the main focus why we took indigenous practices like the use of banana stems and the moringa seeds, and we made them include into the process, not just making the maintenance part, but the making of dug wells and the dumping region. We included the local people into that, so that it is a part of the indigenous practice, and a slight change is for a better health rather than for a drastic and a huge change. We wanted a small change that is gradual and slow, so that it can be a habit, not a sudden change to them. That's how.
All right, thank you very much, team. I'm going to have to cut us off there, unfortunately, but thank you for that fantastic presentation, and thank you, panel, for the feedback. All right, let us move on now to team number 7. I'll just share my screen, and then you will be up. There we go. All right, team 7, over to you.
Oh, am I visible and audible?
Pardon me?
Oh, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Great. So a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the panelists and everyone present, depending on the time zone you're in. I'm Shamika, and today I'll be presenting for Team 7. Our topic is delayed transportation of patients for emergency medical care in India. Next. India is ranked 66th in the Global Health Security Index in 2021, and its score is much lesser than the global average. Next. 16.67 people die every hour due to delay in getting emergency medical assistance in India, and almost 80% face a difficulty or some sort of reaching the hospital in the golden hour. Next. There are 47 accidents and 18 deaths every hour in India. Next. 28,449 deaths due to heart attack in 2021. Next. And 50% of these could be averted with pre-hospital and emergency care. Next. These are a few visuals that can help you understand the scenario in our country. It explains the different problems that are faced, from congestion to traffic to poverty, etc. Next. To focus on our problem, we first understand the entire system, that is from the accident or the point of the illness, which can be a heart attack, etc., to the discharge. We chose our area of focus. Next. Stated all the problems, stakeholders, etc., created an affinity map. Next. Which finally helped us define the stakeholders throughout the entire system. Next. Using all the information conducted in our research, we created the iceberg model to understand the patterns, the underlying structures, and finally the mental models that affect this entire problem in the country. Next. The major challenges revealed through this was, 1, the absence of a centralized body. There's no central contact number to avail an ambulance service in India. The lack of readily available and affordable transport facility. Poor pre-hospital care for the patients. Doctors having no formal training in EMS, and poor infrastructure. Next. This led us to the how might we statement. We came up with 4 statements to conclude on one. Next. A final how might we statement was, how might we improve the response time of emergency medical transportation services in urban India? Next. Before we came up with our solution, we had to all know what's already happening in the country and globally. So that's what we did. Next. There exist bike ambulance services in India. Next. Air ambulance services. Next. Next. Electric ambulances. Next. And multiple models. But the major problem is that there exists more than one numbers to contact. Thus, people don't know how to contact the ambulance services to get the service. Next. 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 So this is our solution. It's called Sarthi, which is derived from the Hindi word meaning a reliable partner that helps you in moving. It consists of an app, a transportation service, and as an overall ecosystem. Next. Let me help you through an example to understand what exactly a solution is. So Nilesh witnesses a terrible accident and nobody seems to know what to do. He opens the Sarthi app and calls for help. He does it through the home screen by requesting for an ambulance for another person and chooses the symptoms visible. Next. The first aid provider receives a notification that his help is needed. He provides measures to cope for the accident and starts the navigation to reach the location of the patient. The EMS provider also has a medical backpack which has all the medicines, a stretcher, as well as life-saving drugs, oxygen, and defibrillator. Next. The EMS provider stabilizes the patient and accesses the records of the patient by scanning the QR code visible on the patient's phone. Next. And this is done until the ambulance comes. Next. This is a model of a scooty. We chose a scooty instead of a bike. These are a few screens of the app that can help. Next. The final outcome, we would definitely need government
Shamika,
support.
unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut you off there. That is time.
Okay.
I do apologize about that. Judges, I'm going to open it up to you. 5 minutes. Over to you.
Hi. Well, I love the research that you did. I think it's really interesting, and I know we didn't really get to the final outcome, but it's really interesting to see how the issue is not on the product that's being designed, as in there's multiple bikes and different solutions like you pointed out, but really on the infrastructure that lies around all of this. So I think when you laid out your problem area, it was very clear where you were potentially going to play in. And so I really appreciate that storytelling of your research, and also just your illustrations and kind of flowing through that research just really made it clear and easy to follow along on your journey through to getting to your outcome. I almost can imagine what your outcome can be based on how clear your research and foundation was.
Thank you so much.
And also like it's actually not just about the cars or the transportation. It's also about like the roads. It's also about like people's like it's also about the regulations. It's also about the like how people's awareness and so on. So I think how is it like how much the complexity like of this problem be like combining that, and that's the reason that also we could see like you guys seem like really thought a lot about that. So I think I was just like I wanted to give you a question like how do you like what do you think like which method like can be applied in the fastest way in the current India situation, because you probably have a lot of thoughts about it, right? So I think it'd be interesting what would be the fastest the solution that it can be actually applied for India situation right now.
Yes. Firstly, there are people who use apps and don't use apps. So our entire model cannot just be based on the fact that a person owns a phone and can use the app. So we would want to integrate with the existing models, that is the 108 model, 102 model that exist in our country, so that even people who don't have access to maybe smartphones can call on this number on the call center, and the call center can use this app service to connect them with the emergency medical driver. Secondly, when it comes to the health records, the government has already started an initiative which is called Ayushman Bharat National Health Mission, which is about centralizing the records of all the citizens of the country in one place, thus making the system very easy. So with the introduction of our application and our idea, it would fit very well with the Ayushman Bharat mission, and the implementation would just be better. And last but not the least, I have to say that government involvement is very important to spread the message to all the communities available. So there needs to be advertisements, maybe on the radio, not just on TV, but on the radio. There are posters on shops, on the roads, etc. Only when this is done can we actually reach different people from different classes in society.
Thank you.
We have a minute left if there's
Okay,
another
if we have
question
time
from
for
the
one
panel.
more. I was just wondering, what do you think will be the biggest? Okay, excellent. What do you think? Again, love the storytelling. It was really clear. Just to echo what Megan said. I'm curious, what do you think will be? What do you foresee as the biggest barrier in terms of trying to connect all those different existing services that you mentioned?
The biggest barrier I would see is the implementation, and the message doesn't reach all the people. We have such a big population of more than 1 billion people and people belonging from different backgrounds. So even there are existing models, but the idea, like people don't even know that they can avail a free ambulance service. They end up paying thousands to avail that. So the main problem is that there is no advertisement of these government schemes, as well as it's not reaching the masses in the proper way, because there is no investment put into that area of marketing and business. So that would be one thing which would be required in order for this to be successful.
All right, thank you very much, team, and thank you very much, panel, for those questions. We have
Thank you for your questions.
We have our final presentation of the day. Team 8, let me share my screen and I will hand the mic over to you. All right, ready when you are.
Hey everybody, this is Team 8 Second Life. Welcome to our presentation on sustainable furniture production and consumption in India. Next. We are excited to share our initiative to promote sustainable practices in the furniture industry, creating a positive impact on the economy, society, and environment of the region. Next. In the beautiful landscape of India, the vibrant culture and bustling economy are fueled by the local artisans and manufacturers who create stunning furniture pieces using traditional techniques. Next. But with the rise of modern production methods and globalized supply chains, the natural resources of this region are being exploited, leading to environmental degradation and social inequality. Next. The furniture industry plays a huge role in contributing to these issues, with large amounts of usable waste and carbon emissions generated throughout the production process. Next. The artisans and manufacturers are struggling to keep up with the demand for cheap and disposable furniture, while also facing pressure to maintain their traditional methods and cultural heritage. Next. So what's happening and what is working? The Indian government is supporting woodworking and furniture industries through incentives, while NGOs are helping sustainable furniture brands collaborate with artisans for traditional craftsmanship. Consumers are increasingly seeking sustainable brands, which have a competitive advantage in India, where eco-friendly products are highly valued. However, challenges such as high costs, lack of regulation still exist. Next. This sparks the question: how might we incentivize sustainable furniture practices, utilize and enhance the skills of grassroots level artisans, and promote sustainability? Next.
There is hope. Our initiative to engage furniture retailers and manufacturers in sustainable production and consumption practices can make a real difference. Through a centralized digital platform and training courses, we create new economic opportunities for local artisans and empower stakeholders to adopt circular economy principles, reducing waste, increasing efficiency, and promoting social and environmental responsibility. Next. Here is a fully integrated three-phase solution. Next. But before that, phase 0, 2 things should happen on land in parallel with the digital platforms to fit local artisans' needs to keep to keep up with the technology and customer demands. Number one, training programs for the local artisans to meet the modern day furniture needs. And number two, setting up of local furniture disposal centers where people can dispose of their old furniture for incentives such as discount coupons for artisan stores. Next. Phase 1, introducing a centralized digital solution that allows manufacturers to, next, track environmental impact of furniture waste and amount of sustainable materials for research and economic purposes that generate RESTful API endpoints and serve the future phases. We know it's a big data project. Next. Locate the government disposed raw material centers near them. And finally, get certifications for sustainable practices by different artisan collectives. Next.
Phase 2, scanning app with augmented reality features will be integrated with the earlier platform. Next. It tells you the story of the furniture piece and its sustainability index. Next. It helps people dispose of their furniture through a doorstop service. After collection of the furniture, users are provided with discount coupons for the artisan stores. Next. It educates people and increases engagement by a simple quiz. Points earned can be used for discounts from the artisan stores. Next. And guess what? It also has a pop-up fun fact every day. Next. Phase 3 is publicity. Please, can you go back, please, Jed, to phase 3? Yes. Yes, publicity. We will promote our ideology and our 2 digital platforms, website and app, through a television, YouTube or Netflix home makeover reality show. Next. This contributes to 2 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Goals 8, decent work and economic growth, and Goal 12, responsible consumption and production. Our initiative also promotes circular economy principles to reduce waste and increase efficiency while emphasizing social and environmental responsibility. Next. Our solution provides a comprehensive approach to sustainability in the future industry by incentivizing sustainable practices and creating value for all stakeholders in the furniture industry, including manufacturers, retailers, artisans, and consumers, and contribute to a more sustainable future for all. Next. Thank you for listening and happy to answer your question.
Thank you very much, team. You actually came really close at 1 second remaining out of your 5 minutes. So well done on that. All right, thank you very much. Let's open it up to our panel of judges.
Great work, team. I think one of the things that I first want to compliment you on is the fact that you had multiple presenters. It's really great to hear from different team members, but also the challenge of keeping to time while you have multiple people coming in. So just job well done on kind of managing that flow, but also highlighting everyone's voice. I'm really interested in understanding how you plan to keep people engaged in an app when potentially the furniture life cycle within a human is not, it's every couple of years, it might be every couple of months, but what happens in that downtime? Are people going to keep this app or keep this dashboard and such on their phones, or are they going to keep looking at it? Or is it kind of a once and done, once I've bought my furniture or recycled it, I'm going to kind of forget about it and move forward? I know you mentioned a little bit of a TV show, but I'm just curious how you plan to keep engaging people in the conversation in between their purchasing or discarding of furniture.
Thank you for the question. And yeah, Tikshita, you want to jump in?
Yeah. One of the main reasons why we believe that our users will keep coming back to our app is because it's just not a place where you dump your furniture, you also have coupons. And when you can dump your furniture while you get coupons to purchase furniture that's not just mass produced, it's a unique piece created by an artisan. It has a story, it has value, and you get discount on that. So I think that's our selling point. And mentioning the TV show, actually, to keep the app and website relevant even after a while, that is why we have the TV show. The TV show is going to be a simple home decor, home re-innovation show, but everybody who will be working in that show will be artisans, and they'll be working with furniture that we collect that are disposed of. So it'll kind of be an entertainment show, but people will also know about this app because people on that show will be using the app, website, etc. So that's why we have different phases for our plan to keep it relevant, and we'll keep improvising based on how customer needs change and what's in trend. So our ideas for promoting this concept will change based on time, like with time.
And if I may add to that, I know changing mindset and keeping people engaged is very challenging. That's why we are doing the soft introduction by phase 0, phase 1 platform, and then introducing phase 2 that is connected to the previous phases, and then publicity of the TV show or any kind of promotions.
All right, we have time for one more quick question.
May I, Jennifer? So maybe like I just like following the Megan the question. So like, do you have any like additional thoughts, ideas that shows that the people like who are using the service, they can actually feel the sense that they are doing a take actions for the sustainability value? Because I think it's a good system to see like make people have a like awareness about that, but like the other round, like do you also have the other idea or have a thought about the idea that maybe you guys may some idea that they can actually also have a feel that they are doing like they're doing something for the sustainability?
Are you answering, Takshita?
Sorry, I think I'll answer that. Yeah, so basically on the app, we have we are basically going to incentivize the users. For example, if they buy a piece, if they're scanning furniture and sustainable, they get extra points for that. And then if they dispose of furniture, they get extra points for that, again adding to the coupons and discounts that they're buying from the local stores. And also we have, like, just to keep them engaged, we have like this quiz and pop-up fun facts and all of that. So we are hoping that this gamification can really help them feel like they're making an impact, because something that is digitally on a screen can also have like an effect on the user and how their brain works. So yeah.
Yeah, if I may add to that, this is linked to API endpoints of trustworthy data. So the gamification is not by only fun facts. Those fun facts are trustworthy data about tracing or tracking the sustainable materials and how is their how does they have impact on the environment.
Excellent. Thank you very much, team.
Great.
So let me call it there. That is time. And I want to congratulate all teams, all 8 teams, for presenting this morning. Thank you so much. I know that our time was extremely limited, but I thought everyone did absolutely fantastic. So judges, good luck with deliberating. So the next phase of this morning is we have 20 minutes with a very special guest from the World Design Organization. We have President David Kusuma, who is an accomplished and strategic executive in the innovation space. He has extensive experience and proven success in product strategy, leading high-performance cross-functional teams, driving R&D innovation, and championing open innovation, delivering best-in-class solutions to global customers such as Tupperware and Global Electric. David, I'm going to hand the mic over to you in 1 second, but before I do that, I would like to go over the format of the next 20 minutes. This is going to be an interview, and we're very, very excited to have our interviewers from the 2 institutions. So we have UPES University and Algonquin College. We have Prachi Aurora from the Interaction Design Program from UPES, and we have Melissa Marchand from the Bachelor of Interior Design Program over at Algonquin College. Those are going to be our hosts this morning, David. David, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Jed. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. My name is David Kusuma, as Jed had mentioned, current president of the World Design Organization, and beyond on behalf of the WDO, I do want to express it's a great opportunity and an honor for me to be here to participate in your program. I do want to give my thanks to Jed Looker, also to Silva, both Algonquin College and UPES University have done an extremely important job. I would say focusing on looking for building solutions to UN SDGs, and I do want to highlight that, this is such an important subject. The world has become increasingly complex. Most of the people who are working on UN SDGs are more the older crowd, such as which I belong to, so it's really refreshing to see younger professionals, younger students working on the same subjects. You are looking at problems and finding solutions through a different lens, so really based on your experience and based on your knowledge, you can come up with ideas that probably our generation couldn't even imagine, so that's really, really important. For those of you who are not aware, WDO is the global body for industrial design. We have actually a very proud history that dates back all the way back to 1957. In fact, last year, 2022, we feel has really special significance within the WDO's milestone. The WDO was previously known as ICSID, the International Council of Societies of Industrial Design. And we've been committed for many, many years to promoting, to advancing the discipline of industrial design, to enhance our economic, our social, our cultural, and also our environmental quality of life. So just a couple points I want to bring out. I do want to take the opportunity to also acknowledge, we have Dorothy and Bertrand from the WDO Secretariat. We also have Megan Price, one of our board members as well on the call. So really happy to see everyone here. Technology is really driving a lot of our lifestyles and our behaviors, and I think that your generation, the younger generation, know much more about technology than the rest of us who've been around a long time will ever know. Technology is coming faster and faster, and it's going to come at us whether or not we're ready for it. I think that when we really think about technology, it has the opportunity to improve our quality of life. But it also has important opportunities that we have to deal with to make sure that there's no misuse either. It's one of the things that I think schools and universities can start to focus on, which is also the ethics of design. How do we make sure that technology that we incorporate into our daily lives continue to provide maximum benefits for the user and for our communities? So this is really, really important. I think that as we move forward into the future, we have to make sure that design plays a big role and making sure that we always put the user first and that we focus on how to create, a design for a better world. How do we create the best benefits for both human civilization and human communities? So I think that is the opening that I've got. I know that we're going to be coming back in a few minutes to talk a little bit about maybe a question and answer session, Jed.
Yes,
so I'll be happy to take any questions at that time.
Okay, thank you very much, David. So we have up Prachi and Melissa are going to be asking you some questions. So what I'll do, just also being the timekeeper here, I'll ask that we keep, if you could kindly keep the minutes to about the responses to about 2 minutes. It should keep us on schedule. So Prachi, over to you with our first question.
Thank you, Jed. So could you expand on the consultative status that the WTO holds with the UN and how this is leveraged to advance WTO's mission?
Yes, thank you, Prachi, for your question. So we've had for many years, really many decades now, the UN consultative status. What it actually means is that the World Design Organization is a formally recognized NGO by the United Nations. You know, it gives us access to work with their different agencies around the world. We have not really, to be honest with you, done a really good job at leveraging this opportunity. We've started a couple of years ago working with the United Nations Women on trying to utilize design for social improvement, you know, looking at how can we interject solutions that help against violence against women and girls. So, you know, that was really the first part. We have lately been in touch with UNIDO as well. They would like to utilize, you know, our know-how, especially with regards to industrial improvements. You know, they are the ones that I would say are the closest aligned to the discipline of industrial design. UNIDO stands for the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, you know, and they look to improve quality of life by bringing up the, you know, the standards of industry within different countries. We've also had started a relationship with UN Habitat. You can imagine that there are many opportunities to deal with homeless issues and you know, issues that relate to really not just one city but everywhere in the world. And I think that you know, we're also leveraging, you know, and this is really important. We have the World Design Impact Prize. You know, so the WDO, we don't give awards that are product related. We, you know, we support our members to do that. A lot of the awards that you're familiar with, like IF Design, Good Design Australia, and so on and so forth, are actually members of WDO. The only award that we give, well, we give two. One is the World Design Impact Prize. The other one is the World Design Medal Award, which is given, it's almost like a Lifetime Achievement Award. But the World Design Impact Prize is given to the one project that actually has the greatest impact on quality of life. And, you know, this is one that we plan to bring in front of the United Nations as well. We have the opportunity to go in front of the General Assembly and really show that design as a discipline can really have a strong effect in terms of social improvement. And we, you know, we want the world to understand that.
Thank you, David. Melissa, over to you.
I would love for it if you would share some of your career highlights or challenges, as well as some key lessons that you've learned throughout your career span.
Sure. That's a big question. I've learned many things throughout my career. You know, first of all, you have to really, especially if you're young, you're a young designer. I would suggest to collect as many mentors as you can along your way. You'll find out that a lot of your journey through your career and through your life will be affected by those who are willing and able to guide you, you know, to give you new opportunities, and actually just to give you some of the directions of thinking that you may not have considered yourself. If you want to ask me about projects, I would refer back to some of the very interesting projects that my team worked on when I was leading product at Tupperware. You know, here we tried to create, especially with connections to the UN SDGs, we tried to focus on creating new product categories that really focused on, you know, sustainability. And it's not just sustainability from the standpoint of plastics and how do you focus on the circular economy and how do you keep materials in constant use, That's definitely one aspect we looked at, but it was more also on the aspect of food. How do you reduce waste? How do you keep food from spoiling? You know, we did a big project with a number of universities. In the US, we have these universities that are called land-grant universities. You know, these are universities that are given a lot of money. They're given land by the US government to focus primarily on agricultural research. So we asked them, you know, if people were going to be storing fruits and vegetables, you know, what would be the ideal conditions to allow these types of foods to last for a longer period of time? You know, just understanding the complexity that if you are able to maintain freshness of food for a longer period of time, you give the consumer two added benefits. Number one, you save them a lot of money because they don't throw away food. And number two, you save on the environment because everything that you keep out of the landfill will, you know, and that you can still consume will prevent additional greenhouse gases from forming. So we actually did a lot of work on life cycle assessment. We came up with really the balance of the conditions that needed to be put into a food storage container to make food last longer. And I have to tell you that everything boiled down to a certain opening that you would be putting into a container. The interesting thing is that you know, all the science boiled down to the respiration rates and what we would call the transpiration rates. You know, so respiration rates are because even in post-harvest fruits and vegetables, they still need to breathe. They still need to convert oxygen so that they can produce energy for themselves. The second part is that you know, transpiration. You had to make sure that it had enough moisture so that you know, it didn't go dry and stale. So it was really the balance of the two. I have to tell you that it was a really game changer, because when I went in front of senior management to give them the results of the data, you know, their comment was, you know, David, ever since the company was formed, many decades even before you got there, we had been telling our consumers that the best way to store food is in hermetically sealed containers. And in our opinion, we're the best in that. You know, and they said, and suddenly you come along and you want to put holes in these containers, you know, so, you know, just a totally different point of view, you know. So I said, yeah, you know, I said, I know it sounds strange, but, you know, the science doesn't lie. And if you do this, you will be giving consumers an added benefit of anywhere between 2 weeks and 4 weeks additional use of their food. It took them a while to get started because it was a big investment. I think even when we were starting with a couple of these units, I think we started out with something like a $1.5 million investment in tooling. But when they finally decided to do it, which was probably 2 years later or so, it became the top selling product for the entire company worldwide for the next 5 years, you know. So I think there's always an opportunity for, you know, design to embrace technology and really bring, you know, new benefits to the user.
Thank you so much for that, David. Okay, back to you, Prachi, for a question.
So I'm curious to know, how have you worked with clients or colleagues who have not prioritized sustainability, and what strategies have you used to encourage them to embrace more environment-friendly practices and materials?
Yeah, it's a good question that you're asking. Sustainability is definitely not in the mind of every person who really, when you think about it, most companies are focused on, you know, how to drive maximum profit, and how do we maximize, you know, the revenue that we'll be bringing in versus, you know, the respect for the planet and respect for for sustainability for the Earth's natural resources. I think that definitely there is a big challenge for us as designers moving forward to get people into this frame of mind. The important thing, I think, for us is really to make governments understand that design can play a big role in this, you know, and that's why in the World Design Organization, we're also focused on how do we improve the viability of design policy. You know, it's one of our big areas because design policy, if you really look at it, there are many there's a lot of work that has gone into design policy over the years. Unfortunately, if you really look at the results, very few of those policies have actually been implemented. You know, so I think we have that opportunity. The important thing is for us to get in front of the you know, the equation. Everyone wants to know what's the benefit of investing in design. You know, what's the return on investment? And this is something that we're trying to define as well. You know, what's the payback? We have this World Design Capital program that is cataloging, you know, where the cities spend their money on which programs, you know, so that we can actually take a look at the return on investment. You know, maybe not necessarily monetarily, but looking at it in terms of human value, in terms of raised cost of living, in terms of reduced poverty, in terms of you know, dealing with food insecurity, things like that. And it's a tough hill to climb because, you know, if you take a look at most national design policies, most of them are focused on how do we improve our competitiveness globally. You know, how do we get our country to advance technically and also, you know, through design so that we can improve our economic standing, for example. I think for us as designers, definitely for the World Design Organization, we have an interest that goes beyond national boundaries. You know, definitely we are there to help countries that want to improve their competitiveness, but, you know, we're all global citizens. We all have responsibilities beyond national boundaries, you know, to deal with, you know, climate change, things that, you know, we should all be worried about. So these are all things that we're trying to put into what we're calling a global design policy framework. You know, and I think that we can definitely continue our focus on that globally. I think your question regarding projects is more difficult, you know, and I think that it's important that you find solutions that are also economically viable. It's important that, you know, whatever solution we are presenting also makes economic sense. Otherwise, you know, you get into this this issue where you have a hard time finding finding a solution. You know, and one example of that would be recycling of plastics, for example. You know, we know that most plastics can be recycled. We just haven't put systems in place to allow us to do that. Why? Because it's not economically viable. It costs less for companies to make products out of new plastics than it does for them to convert old plastics, you know, and that's why if you look worldwide, I think it's about 9 to 11% of plastics that actually can be recycled actually get recycled. You know, so you really have to look at, you know, what's the economic payback. If we can solve that issue and make it so that it is really desirable for companies to do it, I think that would be where the solution lies, somewhere in there.
Excellent. Thank you very much, David. Just keeping an eye on time, we have time for a quick question from Melissa.
What would be your advice for entry-level designers who would like to advocate or foster a design culture within their organizations?
Yeah, thanks, Melissa. So, I'd like to go back to what I mentioned earlier, which is to collect as many mentors as you can. I think that young people, especially, can benefit from having, good advisors along the way. It's important for us to live the way and to behave the way that we expect other people to behave. So it's a lot of the issues related to sustainability are purely on the behavioral side. We don't do certain things because, I don't know, we're either lazy or we find it's easier not to do it or to do it in a different way. And I think that it's important that we turn sustainability into a lifestyle. Everyone loves their technology. We all have these cell phones that we carry around. Most of the time we're on it, communicating with other people. But we have to think, and as designers, we have that opportunity to think about the future as well. When we think about pollution around the world, most people immediately gravitate to plastics. Plastics are ruining the oceans. Plastics are a big problem because a lot of the packaging are single use, and it's all true. But we as a global community, we make like 3 billion of these smartphones every year, and we always feel like we have to own the latest stuff. Even when our smartphones can last another 5 years, we're so eager to change them because the latest one comes out with new features, and we just have to own it. So what happens to the ones that we don't want to use anymore? We have to start thinking about that. What's the full life cycle of a product, and what do you do with it at its at the end of its life? These are important factors for us to think about because we're not thinking about technology today, but this is going to be our plastic problem of the future, and it's coming fast. And it has so many parts that are not recyclable. The other thing that we have to keep in mind as well is that we tend to design for obsolescence, and that's a big problem. We could make these devices so that they can be easily upgraded. We can make them so that you could even change your own battery, but because it brings more money, I guess, to the companies that are selling them, we make them so that there are no consumer fixable parts in these things. And if you try to do it, you try to open them yourselves and make these changes. Many people who are technically astute can definitely do that, but then you lose your warranty. So they make it very difficult for you to go ahead and upgrade or repair these things on your own, just so they can sell you another one. And I think, again, us as designers, we are, we're in the role where we actually create these products, we create these benefits for the users. We should also think forward, not just solutions for today, but definitely solutions for tomorrow.
I think those are excellent words of advice to our students who are going to very soon be entering the industry and are going to be faced with these challenges. Any final words that you'd like to share with the students before we say goodbye, David?
No, so, again, thanks for the opportunity to come in, speak to the students and everyone who's involved in this challenge. It is really important, I think, that young people and definitely young designers, and as you mentioned, Jed, people who will be soon taking on responsible positions in industry, in the profession, in teaching, really in all facets of the design profession, to start thinking about our future. It's important that again, that we are very cognizant of technology. I'm always worried about the potential misuse for technology, even despite its ability to give, more benefits. So there's a balance there, and we just need to keep that in mind as we move forward, that we make sure that the technologies that we select to incorporate into our daily lives, into our lifestyles, are technologies that can really bring the best amount of benefits for human civilization.
Excellent. David, thank you so much for dropping by today. And on behalf of everyone here, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jed. Thank you, everyone.
I am told that the judges have deliberated and they have the finalists. They're going to connect with David, who's going to read them out in a second. But before he does that, we have another special guest joining us today. We have Chris Jensen, who is the Senior Vice President Academic at Algonquin College. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Jed, and good morning, everyone. I'm delighted this morning to bring just a few words of greetings from Ottawa, where spring is desperately trying to find a foothold and begin to melt all of our snow. It didn't help that we got another winter storm yesterday. I'm quite done with winter. I really am delighted to have this opportunity to say a few words of greetings at the World Design Challenge. The collaboration between Algonquin College and UPES University is a great example of how global challenges can be resolved through innovation and multidisciplinary teamwork across time, distance, and culture. Working with the World Design Organization, thank you, David, to which both of our institutions are members, this international competition challenged multicultural and multidisciplinary teams to develop a solution to one of the three themes related to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and also the 2023 World Design Assembly theme, Design Beyond. As you all know, in a brief 3 weeks, these teams comprised of students mixed from both institutions met virtually to produce their solution and have pitched their results to a panel of experts just a few short minutes ago. I really am so impressed with what these teams have accomplished in such a short period of time. In a previous career, I was a scientist. I'm a chemist, and I had been involved in doing some interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary work surrounding hydrothermal vent ecologies at the bottom of oceans. We had chemists, microbiologists, molecular biologists, crunchy biologists, physicists, geologists from around the world packed into one small ship parked in the middle of an ocean for a month at a time where you don't see land. I do know a little bit about multidisciplinary teams and the challenges that they face. So for you folks, working on a multidisciplinary team is tough enough without the added complication of time, both differences in time zone as well as the limited time for competition. So what these teams have accomplished is a shining example of how innovative solutions to global issues can and should be developed. Congratulations to all of these teams. Well done. This work was supported by faculty, industry experts, and design professionals. The mentorship provided by international organizations, and forgive me if I have an incomplete list, but Aether Learning, BMW, Delta Airlines, Mask Architects, Design for Winning, Andrew World, These organizations and their employees gave the participants meaningful connections to real-world expertise in pursuit of achievable solutions. Thanks to all of the mentors for their support of these teams. You really are helping to prepare for a brighter future. In conclusion, I hope everyone involved, students, mentors, faculty, judges, everyone involved will take what you have learned here, not just the solutions that you've pitched, but the process by which you develop the solutions, and apply it to designing solutions to ever more critical challenges facing our world. Again, congratulations. I'm sure you are all eager to hear the results, and so I will hand it back over. Good luck.
Many thanks, Chris, for dropping by this morning and meeting our participants at the World Design Challenge. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to, David, you're back. Okay, good. David, you've conferred with Stephen, I understand?
Yes, we are actually in conversation as we speak.
Okay, do you have the list of finalists?
I have the third place one. So can I go ahead and announce it?
Yeah, do you have the second and first?
I do have the second, and I think the first is coming.
Okay. So
yes. Okay, so I do have them.
Okay, good. All right, then. Drum roll.
Okay, so
here we go, David.
So thank you, Stephen. The results are as follows. In third place is Team 7. In second place, Team number 4. And then the champions of the 2023 World Design Challenge, winning $1,000 is Team 1.
Congratulations, teams. Fantastic. David, thank you very much for joining us this morning and helping us announce those winners, and also for meeting our students and sharing your experience and your wisdom with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. And congratulations to all the winners, but really to all the students who participated.
Thank you, David. All right, so there we go. We have our winners. So congratulations to our teams for presenting. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. I really don't envy the conversation that the judges must have had to arrive at this at the podium, because these are very, very strong projects, all of them across the board. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so we are coming to the end of the World Design Challenge. What we're going to do coming up next is we have Bertrand Jerome joining us, the Managing Director of the World Design Organization. Jerome's going to say a few words to close everything down. And then we are going to, sorry, I'm just going to, there we go. And then we are going to open it up for an informal hangout. I'm just creating a Miro board right now where we can, I'll share it in the chat, where we can maybe just like a giant virtual card, just put our names on it. Would be really fun to see everybody across both institutions. So let me hand it over to Bertrand this morning. Good morning.
Thank you, Jed. Good morning, good afternoon, all. I will try not to be too long, since I guess you're eager to go into celebration and exchange on this great experience that you've been through. Thank you to our WDO President, David Kuzuma, for being with us today, sharing your experience and wisdom. I think it's very valuable for those students to hear from professionals with such an experience as yours. Special thanks also to Professor Pani Titali from UPES and Chris Jensen from Algonquins for also coming to the discussion today and sharing their words. A special thanks to the judging panel, Megan Price, our WDO board member, Soo-Young Park, and Jennifer Fraser. Thank you so much for being with us and for your great questions, helping us explore a little bit more on the projects that were presented to us. Also, to our experts who were with us on week 2, Professor Harry Nair, Kamia Amir, as well as Owen Foster. Thank you all for joining this project and giving your insights during the development of those concepts and projects. Congratulations to the winners, the runners-up, and all participants for your work during those 4 weeks. You've been an inspiration to us as well. It's always very good to see the community coming together. I'd like to remind everyone that WDO is before and foremost a member-based organization, and we've been founded 65 years ago by designers from around the world wanting to get together, to learn from each other, to exchange their experience, their knowledge, and to understand how they can move the profession forward, having it improve. And although back then we didn't call it sustainability, social and environmental issues has always been key aspects of the programs and the initiative that ICSID and now WDO holds close to their heart. In a program like the World Design Challenge that you've been through, you really express the DNA of the organization, bringing together different regions to start with, but also, as we've seen during your presentation, you brought also the different design fields together: product, interior design, user experience, with all in common the human-centered perspective that you want to bring to the table to improve the quality of life of people. You showed us that designing a better world comes from a good understanding of the issues, and you've brought data to the table to make sure that you understood well the problems you wanted to tackle. And you also showed us the importance of having both the social, environmental, and economical perspective for sustainability, but I'll add also the 4th pillar of sustainability, the cultural one. Many of you have shown that if we don't address the cultural aspect of the solution and projects we're bringing to the table, they might not be implemented. And so we do need, and it is a very unique perspective that designers bring to the table, and we need to bring this unique designer's perspective into all fields of work of our communities, so that we can definitely bring our contribution to the future. So thank you all so much for the work you've done and the inspiration you have brought into those projects. I hope you'll be engaged in the future in different programs. We have the World Industrial Design Day celebration coming up on 29 June. And we do hope that your institution will be joining events and initiatives. Under the guidance of Megan Price, the Young Designers Circle will be launching a call for participants in the next term. So please keep an eye on those calls. If you're not already subscribed to the newsletter, please do. It will be a way for you to know when and what is happening in the future. And I'm just naming those few programs, but you can keep, you'll be informed through the newsletter and the website on what's coming up also. Special thanks also to Dorothy from the WDO side, bringing our members together and making sure initiatives like this one are possible. And all of that would never have happened without the great work of our host, Professor Shiva Ganesh Badu, Jed Locker, and Stephen Gagne. Great work, and we're very proud to have such good members in our WDO family. So thank you so much for putting this together, and looking forward to many future initiatives like this one. Thank you again, and back to you, Jed.
Thank you so much, Bertrand. Okay, there we are. That is a wrap. I have really enjoyed working, Siva, with yourself and your team over in India. It's been an incredible experience. And Dorothy, working with you, I mean, this wouldn't have been possible without the WDO support and bringing in our global partners to mentor the students. So I really do appreciate that. And also my colleague, Stephen, running behind the scenes, pulling this all together. You've been the glue, my friend. So thank you for that. You know, the judges taking some time out of your day, Megan, Jennifer, Suyan, thank you so much for your mentorship. Chris Parney from UPES and Algonquin College, respectively. And David for taking the time. That's awesome. Bertrand as well for your opening and closing remarks. But you know what? Finally, I really want to thank the teams. You're the ones, teams 1 through 8, you're the ones that made this happen. And this was not an easy challenge. I mean, we're working in 2 different time zones. We're working in different design schools. We're working from different disciplines. And the quality of your presentations this morning have been superior. So despite these challenges, bringing this all together has been absolutely fantastic. And so just a little bit of house cleaning. We will be reaching out directly to the team. As we said before, there is a cash prize for our winning team. We will reach out to you directly. We are looking at already talking about doing this again next year. This has been a pilot to bring our 2 institutions together. So we'll see what that looks like. So stay tuned, students, for the version 2, the 2.0 coming up in a year from now. And I also have created a just quick on the fly Miro board that maybe we could use as a kind of wall where we could leave our just say hello, use a post-it note, and I've given you the link in the chat there. Okay, so that's a wrap, everyone. Thank you so much. Let's now, it's 9:30. We do have until a little bit before 10 o'clock. So what I'd like to do now, actually, speaking of the teams, is maybe invite you to, does anyone want to say a few words or share your experience? And again, this is, we'll switch gears here and loosen the tie. This is next few minutes is just purely informal, and we'd just love to hear from you and just see, you know, what did you think about, you know, collaborating, about the challenge, about anything over the past couple of weeks. So I'll stop talking now and I'll just open it up to anyone who wants to share their thoughts. And what we can do is, I don't know if you want to raise your hand or just jump in would be fine too. It's up to you.
Yes, Jade.
And just a note, I would like to thank for our industry guests that the event has concluded now. So absolutely, you know, we very much respect your time. So thank you for joining us. And